Why does my website have no or low traffic? Now, this is going to be a very important question that we're going to answer today. And I feel like the faster we answer this question, the better it is for you. Because once you know why your website has no or low traffic, and you know what to do next. That's going to be the next step of action. Because when you know what to do next, based on why you see what's existing, then it's going to be easier for you to get a better understanding of what is going on. Your business needs to know what's going on. And if you don't know what's going on about your business or on your business or in your business, it's going to be a problem. I just had a call with an amazing business owner, and she has been trying to get her business going for a couple of months now. And what has been happening, actually, let me just give you this breakdown. She has been having an issue trying to get traffic, get visibility, get leads, just use her website and get sales. And I just mentioned to her that if we are able to achieve content, link building, authority, and traffic within a 3-month timeline, then the amount of time that you've spent within 8 months not to get the same result, we can get back within 3 to 3 months, 3 weeks to 3 months, and get you where you need to be. Because it's not really magic. It's not rocket science. It's work. It's strategy. It's planning. It's seasonal. It's something that if you start now, you will always get that result at the end. So she has no traffic because she's not gaining any traffic from any source. And the reason why you're not gaining any traffic from any source, for those who are listening too, is because your website is not connected to the search engines. That's the reason why your website has no or low traffic. So let's just answer this question right now. Why does my website have no or low traffic? Question. Answer. The answer is because your website has not been connected to search engines. In other words, your website has not been received by a signal that is strengthened through search. So if you haven't created a website that has been connected to a search engine, then it's hard for you to operate. It's kind of like saying you have a car, but you don't have a battery or an active battery, or your battery is not good in your car for you to drive. You can look at that car all day, but if the battery doesn't work, it's not going to work. It's like turning on your TV without the remote control when you have no batteries. That's impossible. You need power in your remote control to power on the TV if you're going to use your remote control to turn on the TV, right? If you're going to turn off the TV, if you're going to turn the TV off, you're going to use your remote control to do that because you need the battery to do that. If you're going to drive your car out of the driveway, out of the garage, out of the sideway, out of the highway, out of the freeway, you're going to need battery power, phantom power to do that. If you're using a microphone, you need phantom power to amplify the speakers. You need power to supply what you're using. The same thing with your website. You have a website. Yes, the website is your car, but the battery of that car is where the engine comes in. If you have a V8 engine, a V12, that's because that's the engine of your car. It's no different, same difference. That's why I'm really giving you this very easy examples so we can debunk this question real quick. Because if you start wondering, why does my website have no or low traffic? Simple. You're not connected to search engines. You're not connected to Google Search Console. You're not connected to Bing Webmasters tools. You're not connected to Naver. You're not connected to Yandex. You're not connected to Ecosia. You're not connected to DuckDuckGo. You're not connected to these web search engines that are bringing traffic. You're not connected to ChatGPT. You're not connected to Alexa or Siri. Why? Because you're not on the search engines that are supplying those search engines information. If you're on those platforms that search engines are supplying information, then you won't have any problem of having low traffic or no traffic. So to reverse engineer this problem is to find the solution and ask yourself, have I, as a business owner, as a business operator, as a website owner, created my website or built my website to finish, and also use my website to create content for people who are looking for this information long term? If the answer is no, then you have a long way to go. But the answer is yes, then there are things that have happened in the process to make sure that you can see that success. So when you have no or low traffic, it means that you've not connected your website to Google Search Console. Google Search Console is Google's internet service provider. I'll say that again. Google Search Console is Google's internet service provider. So when you think about the provision from your website to the server, you want to think about what you're serving. It's like cooking in the kitchen and then putting it on a plate after you're done cooking. It's that presentation that's going to matter. It's going to be that experience that they're going to remember. It's that photo they're going to take. So if they're not taking the right photo, it's because, or if it's not taking a photo at all, it's because there's no experience to give, or it's not giving the experience it's supposed to give. So if you want to give people value, connections, quality content, and traffic, then your website has to also go through these things. So I'll break it down today so that within this hour, we can talk about this question and really dive deep. But I wanted to say hello to you all, Tamir, Asil, Lorena, Amun, Lisa, Cindy, Savaka. It's good to see you all here. Good morning, Apostle Allison. Good to see you as well. I see you, Coach Laura, and also Basil. It's been a while. Thanks for being here. Surendra. Hope I said it correctly. Thanks for being here as well. Sabrina, too. I saw Debbie here earlier. Thank you for being here. And I'm excited that we are answering these questions because I have about 52 questions I remember saying earlier last week that I've been going through. This is one of the 52 questions. So the more questions I'm listening to, the more answers I'm giving, because I don't want to I don't want to say the same thing twice. I want to say this once and for all, but also say it in a way that it's understandable, it's digestible, and at the same time, it's relatable. Because if it's not going to relate to you, then there's no point of listening to this. But if you know that you need solutions for the problems that you have, to solve this would require ABC, these are the things to now do. So when you connect your website to Google Search Console, how do you do that? This is how to do this. Welcome, Coach Laura. When you have a website, your website is going to show up as a domain, right? And your domain has a hosting, right? Let's go back into time. So if you look at your website, your domain.com is bought on any of these domain platforms. Now, inside that domain platform, there's something called a name server, right? We don't really think about this, but this is a very important factor. NS, name server. I kind of call it need for speed in a way. The name server is technically the ownership of your content, right? So if the name server is pointing from a hosting, then that means you own the hosting and you also own the server, because you own the domain of that name server that's pointing to your property, right? So when you have a name server and that name server is within your quality control, it's a good thing, because anytime you post content, you own it. We've had an instance with a client that has another team, because we work with clients that have teams as well, or we can, work with our team to work with your team. So it's very flexible. And in this scenario, we have a client that has a team, and their team handles their website. We handle the SEO. We can still build websites, but she's, making sure that they handle the websites and we focus on higher level tasks. So I decided, okay, let's connect your website to Google Search Console. Come to find out that this story is crazy. I've never talked about this before. They literally verified the client's Google Search Console instead of them letting the owner verify their own Google Search Console for themselves with their assistants. So it was the other way around, because when you look at Google Search Console, it's the ownership of the car. Kind of like saying, I can't sell a car that I don't own. If I don't own the title to this car and I'm trying to sell it, that's a problem, right? Because it's not my car. So why are you selling something that you don't own? So the same thing applies to your website. So she didn't own her Google Search Console, and that's why we couldn't even go through step one. So that's how I found out we had a problem, because I said, hey, let's connect your website to Google Search Console. That sounds easy. Okay. Once we did that, it said error, error, error. And I was like, error, why are we getting error messages and why do they sound like this? I said, okay, pause. We need to fix this problem. So what did I do? I did some scanning and I said, okay, who owns this website? I said, okay, this website is owned by her. She has a domain ownership, but she doesn't have the name server ownership. That's why we're not able to register. It's like you can drive the car all day, but you don't have the title deed. You don't have the owner's title. You don't have the owner's information. And I said, we need to solve this problem. So I now sent an email to their team and I copied her and I said, hey, team, please make sure that we can reroute this verified ownership back to the client, because if we don't do that, there's no way we can authenticate this domain for her property. They said, okay, we'll do that. Come to find out, the next week, they now say, oh, welcome to Google Search Console. This is your access. You can now have access domain to the property. And I said, okay, great, thank you. But we didn't solve the problem. It's like, oh, you've given me a car to drive, but I still don't own it. So I'm not really, this is not it. We got to fix the bottom of the problem, because I looked at the name server and I saw 4 different names. It's like saying 4 people owned the car before you. And that's what I saw. And I was like, these are the names of the people. I named them, each and every person's name. And I said, take this person out, take this person out, take this person out, take this person out, replace these 4 people with this one person. And they were like going back and forth, going back and forth. And I was like, why are you guys fighting this? It's not your website. You were paid to build it. You were not paid to own it. There's a difference. And a lot of people go into this horror story. I'm just talking about this now because I don't want to bring this up again. But I've seen people who build websites, own them, and then control them and maintain them, thinking that, yes, this person is doing my website, but you don't really own it, because the day that contract is done, that's the day you're going to have to fight for that same property that you thought you owned. And I've seen that happen a lot of times. That's why whenever we work with clients, we ask these questions, because we don't want problems in the future. We don't want to step into somebody's toes. We want to make sure that everybody knows what's going on, so we're all aware and there are no surprises. So when we now build your website, we maintain your website, you own the website instead of us controlling it through ownership. We control it through management. There's a difference, so that you can own it anytime you want to go, great. But at the same time, you know that you own something that of value because we've been managing it for you. Kind of like stewarding something that you take care of. You take care of something that you like, right? You don't just take care of anything that you don't like. You take care of your water, you take care of your body, your health, you take care of things, your spiritual, your mindset. It's a big thing. So when you look at these things all together, it plays a big role. That's why when you have a business, your business is supposed to create that experience for you over time to now know that, okay, I have a website. Yes, I bought this website. Somebody built it for me years ago or 2 days ago or yesterday, or I have a new website launching today. Great. Congratulations. The next question I'm going to ask you is, do you have that website owned first? Yes, no, maybe. Let's find out. We'll go to Google Search Console, and if we can't verify that ownership, then that's when I know there's a problem. So right now, even with our client, we have to get on an actual phone call, a Zoom call, to actually all 3 of us to be on the call so that we can, first of all, remove ownership and then transfer ownership. It's so much work. Like, we didn't have to go through 3 steps. We only needed 1. But now we've gone through 2 other steps because somebody made a jump, or somebody put the cart before the horse and actually didn't even own it to begin with. So these are things that we deal with clients, and it's crazy. I hear all kinds of stories, but I always make sure that I talk about these things. So when you hear me talk about them, I can't talk about them all the time. That's why I use this platform to connect with people globally. And that's why when I get back responses through email, I'm like, oh, okay, I heard this or this. Yeah, because I said it, because I know that people are going through these things and people don't even know what's going on in the back end. There are many other stories I can tell you, but just for the context of today's topic, when you don't have traffic, when you don't own your traffic, when you don't have traffic access, it's because you don't have access to these properties that you're supposed to intellectually own. That's the first problem. So if you can't own this particular pieces of traffic, then it's going to be hard for you to actually get back into a groove. That's why this podcast, what you're listening to, I have a podcast called We Don't Play. If you've never heard this before, it's your first time, I have a podcast called We Don't Play. So you can go to wedon'tplaypodcast.com, or you can just go to We Don't Play on any of your podcast favorite stations, whether it's Podcast Addict, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora. We're all there, Amazon, YouTube, and we have over 550 episodes. this is going to be 6 years. This month is 6 years. We turned 6 last week, and we've been reaching 151 countries. And we've been really connecting with a lot of people globally at a scale that has been tremendous just because of communication, just because of value. I'm able to give you all this information for free because I know when we get on that call, I'm going to audit your website. I'm going to show you what's wrong. It's kind of like going to diagnose your website and say, this is what's wrong with it. This is what's missing. How do we fix it? We have this and this to do, because it's not rocket science. It's strategy. There's a difference between a plan and a strategy. Plan, you got a plan, you got a business plan, you have a marketing plan, you have a financial plan, but the strategy to get that plan in action is going to take time. It's going to take repetition. It's going to take testing. It's going to take evaluation. It's going to take research and development. These are things that you will not be able to see until you do them. It's not going to come to you. You have to go to it. You have to make sure that you can see through it. So that's what we do, and we help you with a strategy so that we can optimize your marketing plan for higher performance. And that's why your website needs to be part of this performance, because if you're ever going to run ads, you're going to need to run ads, but you have to use your website. I don't know anybody who runs an ad to a website they don't own. If you own it, you might take it to a link tree, you might take it to a stand store, you might take it to Etsy, you might take it to something different, great. But at the end of the day, you don't own that traffic. You're actually helping that business because you're adding more value to that business, kind of like watering their plants instead of watering your own plants. Because you're watering their plants because you're spending $5 every day to run an ad to a link tree that you don't own, yet you create content daily on a platform you don't own either. So at the end of the day, what do you really own on this planet Earth? Or when you think about digital real estate, when you think about acquisition, first-party data, do you own your contact list? Do you own your website? Do you own the things that you can control? Do you have trademark licenses? Do you have things that you can deal with? I'm also in the entertainment business industry, so I can see this from two different angles. We've seen artists, celebrities who don't own their music, who don't own their data, who get, finesse, who have 360 deals. I've seen it all. So I know when I'm looking at this from a showbiz, from entertainment business, from a business administrative standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, from a SEO standpoint, I'm looking at everything and I'm like, okay, great. You have a website, you're an artist, you bake cakes, you're real estate, you're in food, you're in travel, but is your website showing up on ChatGPT? Is your website showing up on apple.com? Is it showing up on podcasts? Is it showing up on books? Is it showing up on blogs? Is it showing up on mentions? Those are the things that we have to look out for. And I'm showing you this now so that you don't say you didn't know. And it's very important to look at these things because it allows you to really see how these things take off. Because right now we're in a digital age that people are asking more questions to Alexa and Siri and ChatGPT than their best friend. It's a real thing. So if you really think that 2026 is going to be here and you still don't have traffic in 2025, I'm sorry. You just didn't take this information seriously. If you really take information seriously, you do something about the information you hear. That's why these questions you're seeing me answer are questions that people are asking the internet. People are asking Google. They're asking ChatGPT. Why am I not getting any traffic? What's the reason? This is the reason. The reason is because your website is not put in a way that is structured for businesses to find you through searches that are happening on a daily basis on engines that are operating on engines like Google, like Bing, like Yahoo, like Yandex. These are platforms that are happening every day. You can go to Reddit right now. You can go to Pinterest. You can go to YouTube and search for anything. You can go to Threads. You can go to TikTok. You can find anything you want right now. If your business is on any of these platforms and then none of these platforms are on your website or reflecting on your website, there's going to be a problem because you won't really know what people are asking you for because you don't own the property. If you own the property, you're able to now know this is what people are coming for. This is what people need. So I want to show up the right way for the right people. You don't want to just show up because you're showing up. You want to show up because there's a need you're trying to fulfill. So if you're looking at the flip coin, you're wondering, okay, do I fall in the 82% or do I fall in the higher top percent advantage? Because if you're going to flip that brand equity from one side to the other, it means that your website within that category has a lot of experiences. Same thing with podcasts. There are 4.5 million plus, 16% of them there. What's going on? We have platforms. We have accessibility. We have time God has given us, but we don't have resources enough to use them well because we don't have information to apply with. That's why wisdom and understanding is important, to apply context, and then you're able to apply that context into actual form. So when I'm saying that, oh, connected to this, connected to that, connection is the first thing. I can connect with you today, but that doesn't mean we're going to be besties. That doesn't mean we're going to be business partners. That doesn't mean we're going to have a great life after. The goal is to make sure that that connection is strong, and it's stronger every time we meet. If we meet every day, if we meet every week, if we meet every month, if we meet every other time, but we're talking between time, that's strengthening the relationship is because we're both connected to something, right? So when you use that same example with your website, the show up every day, the more you show up in people's inboxes, the more you show up in people's DMs, the more you show up in people's rooms, the more you show up in people's minds, that's when things start to change. Because out of sight, out of mind, 100%. But if I keep showing up every week and I'm showing you something that I've been saying for the last 52 weeks, ain't no way you can tell me that if you have a problem and you need solved, you can't tell me that you not know who the person can solve that problem for you is, because you've been seeing that person every day. If you know that I want to get Chipotle, I want to get Target food, or I want to get Subway food, I want to go to a place and, shop because I want to shop there because I like the place I'm going to, HEB or Kroger, Publix, Walmart. These are places that people go to, Trader Joe's, they go to Whole Foods, they go to Amazon Fresh. You're going to places to get all this produce, right? Because you like what you like. And you're going based on the branding. Why I'm giving you this very random example is because you would Google this. You would go to ChatGPT, or you just drive there, or you put it in your Google Maps and say, or Waze, because I use Waze when I'm driving. You can go to your maps and say, okay, take me to this place, or you already know how to get there because you already know where to go, how to get there. Now, that's because you've been doing consistently, right? Repetition is the father of learning, right? And I always say content is king and context is queen. So if the king and the queen are talking together and there's communication and it's understood, then logic, emotion, value is appreciated and both parties win, because it's a win-win. It's not me against you. It's me and you against the problem. So if we have a problem, then we need to fix the problem, not us. Because we can fix ourselves by focusing on what we need to do to make ourselves better. But when we look at a problem, we need to find the solution from the problem. That's why businesses are formed, because people provide solutions for problems people have. So when we now look at this as a website front and ask yourself, okay, I have a business. What am I doing with my business? Can we do this? Can we make this happen? I want to make sure we can take this to the next level. So if you have any questions, let's talk about this in the chat. We have about 30 minutes to go. I see a chat. Hey, Sabrina. Good morning. Thanks for being here. You said, I haven't started a website, but is looking to start within 2 weeks. First of all, congratulations for making that big move. That's a huge, huge move, because websites can get very dicey. So I'm glad that you're taking that big step. I'd love to know more about what your website is going to be about. I'm most excited that you've also connected with me on the call. So I'm looking forward to us connecting too. Definitely thank you for that feedback, because I want to make sure that you have everything in place. Because when people start websites, what happens is that when you start a website, you just want it to look pretty. You want it to look aesthetically pleasing. You're looking at the layout, you're looking at the flow, the design. Can I click here? Is this button working? Those are the things that you're looking for because you want it to be functional, which makes sense. Does the door work? Does the key work? Does the code work? That is very essential, because that's what's going to make or break. But if you don't create a present, hey Sabrina, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes. I just clicked the join now because it populated on my screen.
Yes. Welcome.
Yes,
Tell us about your
welcome.
business.
Tell us about your business. So I am starting a property management business. So I am in the beginning stage. I'm getting everything like the foundation, everything set up. So I have like a timeline on when I want to launch it. So it was so funny that this populated because I'm in Clubhouse a lot, but this one particularly had showed up when I was getting in the car. I was like, oh, let me join it. But I was looking for someone to help me to design it and making sure that it's it's created the way it's supposed to, because I do want to market on Google and make sure that I have a good amount of people that is drawn to the website. So I think this came in right on time.
This is
This is
perfect. Thank
perfect.
you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I had set up a 30-minute consultation call with you. So I'm really looking forward to that and getting to understand how you can help me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
looking forward to helping you.
I'm
There's
looking
so
forward
much
to
that you
helping
can
you. There's
learn
so much
from
that you can learn from
podcasting, from
podcasting,
website
from website
management, from
management,
SEO
from
and
SEO and
AI
AI
results, especially
results,
for
especially
property
for property
management.
management.
What are you seeing in
What are
your
you seeing in
industry
your
right
industry
now?
right
And
now?
what,
And
how, let me say it this
let
way,
me say
how
it
do
this way,
people
how do people
find you
find you
or find your
or find your
competitors?
competitors? They find me on Google. So I work for a property management company now. I'm a property manager. So a lot of owners, they reach out to maybe like referrals, or they just pretty much go on Google and look up property management companies. So I think that would be major for me, to make sure that I am showing up on Google, and when they type in property management companies. Also going to events, hosting events. Yeah. So I just more so marketing myself, and also I'm real estate too. So I'm getting my license and joining a firm to manage properties in North Carolina. So I'm in South Carolina, which I can manage properties, but in order for me to manage properties in North Carolina, I have to have my real estate license. So that's what I'm pursuing too.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll be
So we'll
focusing
be
on North
focusing on North
Carolina.
Carolina. Right now, South
Oh, for
Carolina.
South.
Oh, for
Okay.
South. Yeah, South Okay. Carolina. And then eventually North Carolina, once I am in the real estate, a broker for a good amount of time, and then I'll be able to take on properties in North Carolina. But a lot of, like I said, the owners, they're going to Google searching um property managements, and also Thumbtack too. I noticed because I talk with a property manager. He's the owner of a property manager, and he said that he uses Thumbtack too, but that's a different type of audience when you use that. So yeah.
No, this is
So
good.
this is good.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
definitely
I'm
looking forward
definitely
to
looking
connecting
forward
with
to
you. I
connecting
will
with
call
you.
you
I will call
today
you
so that we
today
can get
so that we
more
can get more
information before our
information
scheduled
before our
call,
scheduled call.
and
Okay.
then we'll talk
And then we'll
about
talk
that.
about that. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're
And I
welcome.
am going to leave. I have to go back. So it was great talking with you, and I look forward to talking with you
Same here,
soon.
Sabrina. Pleasure.
Thank you, Sabrina. Pleasure. Thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
This is exciting. I'm happy that we talked about this. And, shout out to you, Sabrina, because that's how things start. That's how businesses get formed. That's how you build your website. Because when you don't have traffic, when you don't have information, or when you know you have information that you can give, then not have to do a backlog. Because when you think about SEO, right? SEO is search engine optimization. Now it's search everywhere optimization. So for you to be showing up on Alexa or ChatGPT or Reddit, or showing up on Pinterest, showing up somewhere that people frequently ask questions, then if your website is showing up for those right reasons, then of course they're going to connect you and they're going to put you out there because you have something called a uniform resource locator. In other words, a URL, which we all have. Right now, everybody in here listening has a URL. If I click on your face, if I click on your profile, you have a URL. It will say share profile. That profile has a link. That link is a URL. It's a uniform resource locator. So when you have an Instagram, a TikTok, a LinkedIn, you have a URL. It's linkedin.com/in/your name, or linkedin.com/company/your name, or tiktok.com/@ your tag name. Anywhere you go online, you're going to have a URL, a uniform resource locator. So if the location of your resource is not in a uniform place, if it's not in a place that you can find, which is in form of a website, then we have a problem, because now we can't locate your website. If you're trying to get grants, if you're trying to get business grants, just specifically on that, you need to have a website. If you want to, access funds, if you want to really go and expand, if you want to partner with businesses, if you want to show up for different results, whether it's for profit or non-profit, you need a website. You need something that people can say, okay, this is what we do. UN has a website. Forbes has a website. Times has a website. If you're looking at all these platforms, like Wall Street Journal, you're looking at these big websites, they all have information. Wikipedia. If these websites were not existing, the dominance and you knowing them will not even be in existence. The reason why you know google.com is because you go to google.com. If there was no google.com, you would not know google.com. And Google has google.com. So when you start looking at these things differently, it just changes everything completely. And it gives you a much better response system, because I don't want you to be guessing. The last thing you want to do in 2025 is guess, especially when you have all this information available to you. If you're still guessing how to get clients, how to get traffic, how to get leads, there's a problem, because there's so much information I can give you that you would have to Google it a day in your life, because information is available to you because you asked for something specific. I've gone through this 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. I've been able to see these things, and I keep learning. I don't know everything, but the more I know, the more I don't know. That's what keeps me going, because I want to make sure I'm able to deliver at any time possible, because I don't know these things that are happening. Things could be, I learn more from my clients actually than they learn from me, because when I'm listening to different clients in different industries, we work with all types of industries. I'm just like, wow, this is a lot of information, and I'm learning. I get to learn about their business, how things work. I get to see even different things. Like, I learn so much that it makes me even want to learn more about how we can help you. Because the more I do research, the more I learn more about, oh, this is how your business works. Oh, I didn't know this company existed. Okay. Now, even when I go to companies or I look at things, I see them differently, because I know that they're a direct competitor or an indirect competitor. We have businesses that sell hair, that do massage, that do doula, birth. There's real estate, there's healthcare, there's food. I'm just like, we're so in so many different industries, and I learn so much. Coaching, brain work, like those are things I'm like, wow, I really know that there are different levels to this. So when you have a business, there are 3 reps I always keep saying you got to keep doing, or 3 sets you got to do. Your mindset, your skill set, and your tool set. Those are the 3 sets as a business you have to keep doing every day. The more reps you do with your mindset, the more reps you do with your skill set, the more reps you do with your tool set, the better you get. So that's what I keep doing, because I keep coming here to give you information. Right? I don't have all day to say this every time, but the time I have to say this, I make sure it's quality time. That's one of my love languages, quality time. And that's why I do this out of love for people, because I want to make sure that I'm not just showing up or talking or giving you information overload. I want you to understand that what you're going through is something I've been through, and I don't want you to go through the same thing too, because you can go through something else, but not something that you should have avoided. Right? We're not saying that we're going to avoid problems. We just need to make better decisions. We just need to minimize errors. We're not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not. Only Christ is. And as we look at our lives every day, we get better. So at the same time, we're thinking, okay, how can we make our business flourish? How can we make people see our business? And how can we make our business their business? It starts off with taking ourselves seriously. You know how you've heard this before, dress how you want to be addressed? It's the same thing with your URL address. It's the same thing with your website address. The word dress is there. If you dress well, if you smell good, if you look good, you feel good, you're going to do good to good people. Know better, you do better. It's like, what else can we say about this that is not making sense? It has to make sense. As long as you're doing things correctly and you're doing things consistently, you always get ahead. Mindset, skill set, and tool set. Yes, is fire. Mo Dub, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, brother. Thanks for bringing me up. Yeah, man. It was just what I needed to get my creative juices flowing for the morning. So, thanks for opening up this room and having this space for us. And as usual, anything you need me to contribute to the conversation, I'm there, brother.
Thank you, Mo. I wanted to ask you this too for people who are thinking about this. Why does a website have no traffic? Or let me say it this way: why does a website get low traffic over time as opposed to high traffic over time based on what they read on the screen? And if that pulls them in, they'll come back. If that doesn't pull them in, they'll be repelled.
Right. So, you've mentioned this before in the rooms, but there's a thing such as content decay. Right. So once you put that content up, it's on the clock. It starts decaying, right? Whether it's gonna Facebook disappear in a couple days, or um, you know, what I think you said Pinterest is like months on Pinterest, though, right? But the thing of the matter is, the content gets old, it gets obsolete. You got competitors out there who aren't doing the guesswork, and they employ what's called skyscraper tactics, right? So they take, and they look at you and they look at your top performing content, right? So now they scrape that top performing content, the data from that, they put it out, and then bam, right? They optimize it and do it better than you. So now, boom, 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 you get little to no traffic on your site, right? Or your information becomes obsolete, or the search engine demotes you in the rankings because you got broken links, right? Or they don't trust the things that you're saying. So there's a million reasons. And I was on this webinar a few months ago where they were talking about, excuse me, like 90% of the web pages out there get zero traffic, zero. So when I get a client that comes to me, and the first thing they say to me is they want to draw more traffic to their website. Well, the first thing I ask them is, well, how are you sending traffic to your website now? And there's almost always crickets. Like, what do you mean? Right? You have to drive traffic to your website, whether you're taking out an ad or putting up your blogs and backlinking, right? You have to drive people to your website. So if you're not doing that, you're automatically going to get zero to no traffic. And I'll land the plane there.
Thank you, Mo Dub. You said something I want to just go back on a little bit. Let's just rewind this. You talked about 99% of websites don't get traffic. There are 1.1 billion websites in the world plus. Now, if 99% of the total number of websites, hey Nikki, welcome. I see as well Keisha, Drew, welcome to the room as well. Ashley, Kimandra, love to have you. And Anna, I see you too. Thanks for being here. Hey, we need to talk. We need to catch up, Nikki. It's been a while. Hope you're well. Thanks for being here today. If 99% of the total number of websites don't get traffic, then what is the 1% getting the most traffic? 1% of 1.1 billion is 11 million. So if there are 11 million websites that are actually getting traffic in our world today, that's a very small number, because think about 11 million. And if you go to a website called opencorporates.com, check it out, opencorporates.com, it's going to tell you how many companies there are. So there are about 222.8 million companies. Let's just talk about this. There are 222.8 million companies in the world, right? According to Open Corporates. And there are 11 million active websites. Do you see where I'm going with this? 11 million, right? By 222.8 million. I'm going to do the math for you so that you don't have to worry about this. You just have to listen and then just do the calculation mentally and see where that number like takes you to when you look at the full number. If you look at this 11 million divided by 222.8 million companies in the world, that's about 0.04% of the total number of companies in the world that have websites. Do you know what that means? I've just done the math for you. I've given you numbers, statistics, facts. This is happening in front of us. And you wonder why Wikipedia gets the most traffic, why Yelp gets the most traffic, why Wedding Wire gets the most traffic, why Google, ChatGPT, Alexa, all these 11111 websites. They're not many. You can name top 10 long-standing websites. You don't need to name 100. There are 100 websites, 1,000 websites, a million websites. But think about the total number. 11 million websites get traffic in today's world. So if you're not part of that 11 million, that is why you're not getting no traffic or low traffic. So this is math that I want you to math today and just ask, how am I going to be in this 11 million, in this 1%? That's going to give me access to information that can allow me to show up for results. Because if you think about 11 million, that's low compared to 222.8 million companies. That means there are not many companies that have websites, and the ones that do don't really use them. That's why Mo was saying that the person was shocked when it's like, what are you doing with your website? Why are you not getting traffic? It's like, I'm supposed to get, kind of like saying, if I have a website and I build it, I expect people to come to my house. How am I going to know that I have an open house when I was not even invited? Make it happen. Make it make sense. Houseway, like, how else can you say it differently? Because if you want to be known for something, it means that you're showing up for something. That is why there's no competition on Google. That is why Google is changing from just being links to rankings to just now having earned media. Because if you're showing up on ranking on ChatGPT or Perplexity, it's because your website already has Google Search Console indexed. Google is looking for information from sources that have information that, like you, like your website, like your web page, like your web link. But Google is not going to give AI mode or Gemini or ChatGPT a result that was not first credible on first base. You can't go to second base if you don't go through first base. You can't go to the second floor if you can't go to the first floor. There has to be levels to it. You can't turn 2 if you didn't turn 1. So you have to look at this from a numerical standpoint. When you have a domain, your domain starts at 0. When you buy that domain for the first time, it's at 0. Then you jump 1, 2, 3, 4. And I did the calculation. It's about 7 points every year. You can go above that for sure. But every year you gain 7 new points, meaning you gain 7 new domain authority signals. So if you had domain authority of 0, then by the end of the year, if you've been doing content consistently, you could have +7 domain authority. If you do that over time, it makes sense. So when you also look at why your website has no low traffic, it's also your domain authority. That's why I always tell people, let's get you set up early. Don't wait until the whistle blows for you to start running. You should be get ready, set to go. Because if you're getting ready when the whistle is blown, then you're going to take more time to get to the finish line than the person who was ready before the finish line was even began or the starting line even started. So when you now look at your business from a starting point and say, okay, we're in August now. By this time next year, God willing, where should my business be? By this time last year, where was my business at the time? If I was gaining X amount of traffic, have I been able to multiply that times 10, times 100, times 2, times 5? What's that number? And now with Google Search Console, they've actually created a new comparison tool where you can actually compare year over year. If you go to Google Search Console and go to performance, on the right side, you'll see where it says check your different months. You'll see compare. If you look at comparisons, you can compare the last 24 hours over the last period, over the last year at around the same time, or 7 days, or 28 days, or 3 months. When you start doing that, you start realizing, okay, by this time last year, I was gaining 2,000 impressions a month. Now I'm gaining 20,000 impressions a month. Okay, if I increase my percentage average from 1 to 2% conversion rate, that's because I'm running ads at a higher threshold. Now I'm able to spend less money because I have more dominance online. Like, it makes sense. It's kind of like rowing your boat. You know exactly where you're going. If you want to turn left, turn right, go up, go down, stream left, stream right, turn left, turn right, you know what to do. But if you don't know what to do, there's no way you can do what you need to do because you don't have information. So that's where that information is very, very vital. And Jason says, you said misspoke while coughing. Okay, the number is 90%. That's still a lot. And if you think about it, that's still a lot. If you let's say X that number up, it's still a lot of people who don't have traffic that do. So, and then Jason says, can website promotion ever compete with interaction on apps like this? Like, okay, so when you're saying apps like this, like Clubhouse, for very niche services, people don't know what to search for. Like if you're the only one like I am. Well, there, as I said earlier, there are 1.1 billion websites. And if we're looking at this number, just like, Mo said, I'm just going to do the math again. It's very easy to do this really quickly. So, all right, here we go. So if you're looking at 90% of 1.1 billion websites, right, that's 990 million, right? So if we're looking at 10% of 1.1 billion websites, then we're looking at 110 million. So if you're really looking at this from a long-term perspective and you're looking at the numbers, even if you were saying, okay, 1%, 99%, 1%, 90%, 10%, and there are 222.8 million businesses, not every business you see there is also going to show up on the web. You know why? Because businesses show up for different search results. Businesses show up based on location. So, like, and I'm going to tag what I just said, and then I'm going to tag you with you, Jason, too, because you said I'm the only one who has done a Freedom 45 Legacy Life Strategy book course. Yes, you're the only one, which is great, but you're not the only one who has thought about a book or a course. So there are other things that will semantically bring your business to the form or the light of people who are interested in things that you already do. So when you single out yourself and say you're the only person doing this, great. You may say I don't have competitors, great. But when I do research and development, I'll be like, here are your direct competitors, here are your indirect competitors, because you can't do business without people. If you're doing business by yourself, then I don't know who you're serving, because you're serving people with your business. So when you start thinking about strategy, books, coaching, all these things are important because there are people you're going to connect with. Hey, Lynette, good morning. There are people that you're going to connect with. So if you don't have a website that is going to drive this strategy or drive this in, it's going to be a different thing for you. Like, I'm looking at your website right now. Your website is a landing page. Your website is not a website, it's a landing page. Why? Because it has, let me say it this way. Your website doesn't have a heading, right? When you don't have a header, that means it's a landing page by default. It's a page that's talking about a webinar, which is great. You have all the listings, you have all the videos. This will not rank on Google Search Console. This will not rank on Alexa. It will not rank on ChatGPT. And I've also mentioned this before to people. Is a website a landing page? No. A website, it's like saying, like what you've just sent me, Jason, is like showing me a window of your closet, but I don't see the whole house. The only view I have in 360 mode is the view of that window. I don't see the house. A website is a house. I can see the homepage, about page, contact page. It's a funnel. Okay, you're saying it's into the funnel. And welcome, Christina, good morning. Is it a funnel? A funnel, I love this question because I want us to debunk this. We're talking about a website. A funnel is a web page. If we're really being honest with ourselves, Russell Brunson style, anybody else's style, those are web pages. When I look at these, when I see someone's ad and I click on the ad and I see the page, I'll straight up, I'll know this is a website. This is a web page. This is a funnel, which is within a web page. It's a web squeeze or a page squeeze or however you want to call it a funnel squeeze. So if you look at it, it's important to look at this. Kimandra says, can you let me know your first thought when you see my website? Let me see. I'm going to click on this. Okay, so now this is a website. Why is this a website? And I love the colors. I love welcome to your self-love garden flower. This is beautiful. Step into your self-love garden. I can see the information, explore the collection. This is good. I love what I'm seeing. I can go right into the journals. This is exactly what I mean when I'm looking at a website, because now I can see work with me. I can see a journal. I can see home. I can see seated thoughts. I can see the blogs. Yeah, this is a website because I can use this and now ask, ChatGPT, hey, I'm looking for this example, or give me a blog or give me a topic that can focus on this, then to refer this to you. So my thing is, I love the aesthetics of the website. I love how it looks. My question now will be going technical. I'll be asking you, is this website connected to Google Search Console? Do you have a Google tag? Do you have Microsoft Clarity? Do you have things that you're able to install and track, and you're able to look back and say, are these things available? Yes, no. You can do them on your own, but when you start tracking, you start looking at the numbers, you have to also read those numbers and know what those numbers are saying. And that's where the difference is. And that's where, yeah, you said you're now working on that part. So that's where I would now help out to make sure that you have that taken care of as well. So I love that we're talking about this. A website is not a funnel. A website is a house. A funnel is, I'll call it a red carpet, really, because there's really not much you can give apart from what you're giving on that particular front. So thank you for that demarcation. That was actually a perfect example between Jason and Kimandra. Thank you for those two examples. Go ahead, Mo Dub.
Yeah. I just wanted to jump in on Jason real quick, right? You got to clarify this message, brother, right? So I went to the landing page, whatever, and what's the first thing I see? We're hiring, right? Are you trying to hire people, or are you trying to sell the course, right? You got to get more primarily focused on what's that, right? So if you're selling a course, then that's the first thing I need to see. Buy my course, not come work for me, right? Come work for you. I got a job. I'm out, right? So nobody's gonna stick around to get the course if that's the first thing they see. So you need to change that messaging up top, and maybe you'll start converting more in your course if that's what you want to do.
I wanted to type this, but I'd rather just say it so everybody can hear it. Thank you so much for that, Mo Dub. This is what I wanted to type, Jason, because you asked, do you disagree with the principle of just having one funnel to sell? I have multiple objectives since 1999. Great. We're heading to 2026, and the internet is not the same. So if you're not showing up for the results, I'm serious. I'm dead ass serious today. Because if you're not showing up in 2025 on AI search engines, on traditional search engines, then we don't have a conversation. That's some people don't even work with you if you don't have a website. I'm serious. Some people will not even accept your proposal if you don't have a website. Some grants will not even be granted because you don't have a website. Because they wonder, what are you using your website for? What can you say you've done to show us what you've done? You say the way I screamed. I'm serious. Because sometimes I kind of like give you all the, oh yeah, it's okay, it's okay. I'm serious. If you want to keep playing, keep playing. It's up to you. At the end of the day, it's your time, your money. You answer to God, you answer to yourself. At the end of the day, it's when you start thinking about what you have online. If it's not showing up on these search results, you're nowhere to be seen. Everyone asking you for a website. You see, Christina says that. Jason said, when I first started my corporation, LOL, so I do not want to mention I'm hiring for my movie on LinkedIn. Yeah, you're all over the place, bro. We got to tell you the honest truth. you can't be showing up for one result and the other one, people are not going to figure it out. They'll be like, okay, you know what? I don't have time to think through this. People have a lot of bigger fish to fry. People have a lot of things to do with their time and not that. If people want to value what you're saying, show up for the right reasons, show up for the same things, keep showing up. And exactly, Mo Dub said it. If I can't find you, I can't pay you. It's okay if someone is out. It's fine. Everybody has their own decision to make, but I'm helping people. We're helping people who need help. If you have it all figured out, great. Hooray to you. Cool story. But if you need help, if you need direction, if you need strategy, if you need assistance, if you need support, if you need advice, if you need help, reach out to me. Click the link above, go to playinc.online, or just hit the link that you see here. Sign up for the workshop. These are things that are going to help you grow, because the last thing you want to do is to keep toying around with information or start running around in circles expecting a different result or expecting a different result with the same operation. So it's cool. I get people apply on LinkedIn more than people searching on Google. That's great. But at the end of the day, you don't own LinkedIn. You don't own Google. That's what I keep saying. I mean, people have this thing where we talk about, it's like saying, don't touch the fire. Okay, I'm gonna touch the fire and see how hard it burns. I'm just like, what? You're told, do not touch this. Don't pet this dog. Don't pet this. Don't do this. And then you do exactly the opposite. You just, it's funny to me. But at the same time, to each his own. Me?
Yeah, I got a quick question for Jason though, for real. Are you looking for help or feedback, or are you just like slick trying to promote in the room, or wanting us to just validate what you're doing that's not getting you any results? I mean, I'm just curious. What's the end game here, right? Because it definitely
A
seems like.
lot. I'm not gonna. I'm not
Oh,
gonna
there you go.
automatically agree. I normally do learn a lot from Favor, but I'm not gonna automatically agree if something is working on LinkedIn and then you say, oh, that's distracting. I have my own views. I agree with 90% of the advice he gives, but if you give this 10% that contradicts with what I'm doing on LinkedIn that's working, you can't expect me to bow down. I have a lot of experience too. I have multiple objectives. And all I said is I don't agree with taking off that little thing about my movie, but I agree with most of what you're saying. I'm not going to agree with 100% of it, brother. Like, why should I? I have a lot of experience too.
Okay, I understand that. I'm not saying take it off. I'm just saying move it down, right? Because if that's the first thing I see you're hiring, why am I going to go through anything else, right? I'm not. I don't need that, right? So if you look at your analytics, you look at your bounce rate, you'll see how long people are staying on your site, right? Whether it's the landing page or whatever, you could see that, right? So if they're there less than 5 seconds, then obviously what they saw right off the rip is not working, right? So that's all I'm suggesting to you, right? So your analytics, right, are gonna tell you whether I'm right, you're right, or whatever. But the bottom line is, for me, if I'm looking for information, I'm not looking for getting a job, right? So that's all I'm saying. You can move it down. Don't take it off because that's still important to you. Just move it down. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. My main website is Freedom Academy. So this is not my main website. So this is the thing, right? Like, this is what people don't understand. I bought 100 website domains in '99 when I left Microsoft. I have multiple for different objectives. So if you went to the main website, then it has a menu. It has all of the things that other website, which is very nice. That like white site that the other person just put up is very nice. I have a website that's like that, but this has a different objective. So when people are advising me, like, they don't realize, like, at one point I had 100 different website domains, and now I'm partitioning out different things. right? So I've been doing this a long time. I have a lot of different objectives. So I do have a website, but this is a different purpose. And this is a funnel site that's only supposed to be for people that are already, like, they come to my website and I send them here if they want to actually work with me, because they have to get trained. So because of my multiple objectives, if you saw all of them and all of the sites, then maybe you would say, oh, okay, I understand the purpose of this one. It's not the purpose of that one. But you could disagree with this whole concept, but I'm trying this, but it does have a different objective than my actual website.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. It's a reasonable explanation. Right. So let me ask you this straight up. So was the purpose of this page to hire people, or was the purpose to sell the course?
Both, because my
Well,
course
I mean, well,
is
you
what you
just
have
said
to do.
it has one. I mean, what?
Yeah, I'm
Why not?
answering. My
All
course
right.
is what you have to do to get the job, right? So my course is what you have to do to get the job. So when people apply on LinkedIn, I say, well, if you complete this course, in a sense, but it's a very complicated, long thing. But basically, I've been for 3 years, I haven't found people that are qualified. So now I'm like, I have to qualify people. And if you study like people that really do a new thing, like Spielberg, like movies, a lot of times the people that are already out there in the market, they're used to a certain thing, like you are. So I have to get students that are like 18 used to my thing. I have to train them and certify them. First at Microsoft, I was in charge of Microsoft's website in 98, 99, and I did their licensing guidebook and anti-piracy guidebook. But the next time I worked at Microsoft, I was in charge of their 100 certified partners. So what I realized, I have to train the people and then certify them like I did for Microsoft. And then after they're certified, they'll be able to do work with me, like me, and be on my team. So it's a very long, complicated business plan. I do a decade-long challenge, right? So the thing is, because I've been doing this for 2 decades, I've realized I have to train the people. And a student that is like 18 is not going to be like, oh, he's hiring, I'm out. Why would they? If they need a job and they need an education. So you're not in my target market for that purpose, because you probably already graduated. You're not 18, right? So, but the 18-year-old will be like, oh, I need to go to school, get an education. And then I could also, hey, I love to work on one of his video and movie projects, but I'm 18. I have to get trained. And while they go to school, and the website actually has a scholarship finder, but you're not 18. So of course you have a different perspective.
All right. So nothing I've seen on the copy on this site is geared towards younger people, right? It doesn't say, hey, if you're 18 and looking for education and a job, here's your one-stop shop, right? So it's talking more about God and biblical principles that are inclusive to everybody, regardless of their age. So, you know, again, if that's your target market, you might want to clarify who's that for in the beginning, right? So that's all I'm saying. So, you know, right. So just like I said, clarify the message, tighten up the message a little bit, and go from there, right? And then you'll probably see a little bit more dramatic results, right?
I just launched this 2 days ago, so I haven't gotten any testing feedback. You know what I'm saying? My other one was very, it wasn't really appealing at all, and so I can't say that I haven't gotten results. Like, this is not even finished. I don't even have the thing for sale at the bottom. I put it live anyway, right? So it's like I haven't been able to test this at all. So I can't say that I don't have any results. I didn't even put the thing for sale at the bottom yet. So it's not even finished.
Okay, all right. So that reminds me of my other question that I had for you, right? So you're saying that is this a free course, or is this a paid course?
No, there's a scholarship for the course as well. So it's complicated, but it's the first chapter and month is free, so they can get the first chapter and month free, and then the second month, then they pay if I get them coaching results, and then I would hope they would pay only $25. So it's a 6 month journey, but it's not a full-time school, so they can just come on Wednesday nights, right? So because I did a lot of market testing over the last 2 decades, and like people that are in school are working, it's so on the side you could show up Wednesday nights at Work for Yourself Wednesdays, which I have another website for, and then they can get in a coaching. They can get coaching while they're in school or while they're working. So it's a literally a whole life plan. So that's why I have a market message for the parents and for ministers and for teachers, because I want them to refer their 18-year-olds, because I'm not really approaching 18-year-olds that much. So it's got a lot of different objectives. But to answer your question, the course is a 6 month coaching experience, and the first month they can try for free. So they show up and I get them results, and if they like it, then the next month, then they pay $25. If they don't, they're out.
All right, I just want to make sure I got this straight. So it's $25 a month for 5 months, which is $250, right, for the course.
125 because the first month is free,
Okay, well,
right? 6
125.
times
Okay,
25 would be
right.
150 other way.
Yeah. I got you. All right, good catch. Right.
It's okay. I got 100%
They got to pay
math. It's okay.
$125.
I passed.
Right. So $125 for the course. A 6 month investment of time and the 125, and then they had the possibility of getting a job with you, right? So
Well, yeah, unless they're a star, and then I could work with them right away. But it's almost like getting a business partner, right? Like it's very unlikely that anybody that you meet is going to be your business partner. It's like, what's the likeliness of somebody being your spouse that you meet? Very slim, right? So in the 3 years, I haven't found somebody that already meets my qualifications. Now, if I do, I'll also marry her. Look, okay? But, it's unlikely. So that's why I'm like, okay, let me do this approach, because in 3 years, I didn't find somebody that is already exactly what I want.
This is a lot.
Yeah, I retired 3 years ago with $1 million exit, and in 3 years, I haven't found somebody that I did find one student, Vignesh, in India, in Mumbai, but that's only one. So I found one person, and he is qualified. He did do a lot of work, but I haven't found anybody like in Canada or the States. So that's why I decided to try this approach after 3 years of not being able to find somebody that's already qualified.
The reason why, and I'm going to say this quickly because we're going to wrap up very soon. I have a full day today and I wanted to use this time specifically to answer this question. So thank you, Jason, for this feedback. We'll be wrapping up in the next 13 minutes. So if you have any questions, put in the chat so we can answer this and leave on time. The reason why you've been running around in 3 years or more than that is, like you said, you just built this the other day. Google takes time to trust you. And I just want to finish my thought and complete this so that we can come back to the topic of discussion today. When you build a website for the first time, Google has no idea of who you are. Just like when you're born, nobody knows who you are apart from the family, apart from God, apart from your close before you do all the naming ceremonies and all the stuff and all the good stuff. Yeah. But that's day one. That's day zero, right? When the more days you have on earth, the more people get to know you. The more you get to meet friends, you meet colleagues, you meet partners, you meet all kinds of things start happening. Life be lifing because you meet people, right? You have one friend, then you have two friends, and then you have three friends. That's how you build. You don't start with everything. You start with what you have. Same thing with your website. I'm just giving you very crazy examples so that when you just put the same thing into perspective, it's not far from the reality, from the truth. When you look at your website, the first day you publish your website, Google has no clue of who you are. The world does not have any clue of who you are because you don't have anything to show yet. Not that you don't have anything to show at all, but it's not visible to the public. You just obtained your domain. You just secured your website. You just launched your website. Now you have a possibility of getting traffic. When you now create traffic Traffic is created from things that happen. You don't see traffic on the road if there are no cars on the road or if there's nothing that's happening on the road. Something caused the traffic to happen. What caused the traffic? Questions, queries, examples, ChatGPT questions, whatever it is. That's how you end up in those search results. So when people show up in search results, it's because you have a website that has been showing up for years, for months. Usually the lifespan of a blog is 24 months. That's why when you go to Google today or go to even ChatGPT or any source, they're going to give you results from pages that had been published within the last 24 months. And if you updated your article or your page or your website within the last 24 months, that refreshes the cycle by another 24 months. So you always have 24 months leverage as a business. If I wrote an article August 18th, 2024, and I updated that article August 19th, 2025, that means I didn't even use my 24-month cycle, and now I have an extra because I've been able to come back the next year. So if every year people are coming to your website to learn about you, that means that people are learning more about you because they want to learn from you. And when they learn from you, that's when they connect with you. And when they connect with you, that's how they get to you. It's access, right? So access is granted when a website is delivered and accessible. That's why it says accessible, right? When you have an accessible website, a clickable website, a website that can be seen, I don't have to type your business name to find you online. I'm looking for running shoes. Can I find you on Pinterest? And do you have a shoe that I can see, that I can get because I love running? Maybe I love to hike. Maybe I love water. Maybe I love fish. Maybe I love chicken, whatever it is. Thanksgiving is coming. People are going to be thinking about turkey. Someone just told me how they could get turkey, at a really, really, really good price, which is completely like outrageous because the demand is going to be higher closer to that time. So when people are planning ahead, people will say, am I going to get my turkey now or in 2 months? Am I going to plan for my chicken now or in 2 months? Am I going to do this event today or am I going to expand this event maybe for the next year? People are planning. People are not just sitting down doing nothing. People are planning. So if you're planning with them, that means you're planning for them. Because if you're planning for them, then you're writing content that if they're planning with, they're going to use information that they're going to have informed decisions to make based on the results or the experiences or the deliveries they've gotten in the past. Whether it's a review, a product, whether it's a referral, whether it's a consultation, whether it's a workshop, whatever the case may be, they're going to have to decide on that because of what they've been able to experience. So that's what I want to just make sure you're aware of, so that when you think about your website and you want to grow, because the question today is, why does my website have no or low traffic? The reason why is because you have a low domain authority. And for you to increase your domain authority, it means you have to be connected to the servers, the search engines like Google, like Bing, like Pinterest. Pinterest is a great place to be on too, especially now. They just released something called UTM parameters with Pinterest. So I'm excited about that. And I'm meeting somebody that works at Pinterest next week, Tuesday. So I'm excited about that call because we're holiday planning, we're creating, content, we're making sure that everything is, compliant and also ready for market. So as a business, you have to think about your website. If people start coming to your website, what are they coming to see? What are they coming for? So that's why having a website is so important in 2025, because you're not going to show up on ChatGPT at all if you don't have a web link that is going to be referred back from a citation that is coming from your website. That's the major component here that I don't want us to miss. So if you're having no traffic or low traffic, domain authority is number one. To increase that, write targeted articles. Write articles that answer questions concisely. If you know the answer to the question people are frequently asking, put that question in the form of an article and answer that question exactly as it's being asked. So when people ask a question, you get the result. It's like saying I ask you a question and now you start taking me around the bush for 3 minutes, or taking me around this seesaw, or taking me around this park. At some point, I'm going to get tired and I'm going to leave. But if I say, why is the sky blue? And I get the answer exactly as it is, then that's my answer. that has saved me time to think or process or start asking more questions that I should have gotten the answer in the first place. So the whole point of what I'm saying is that if you want to gain traffic, answer more questions. By answering more questions on Google, by answering more questions on social, by answering more questions on search, it helps. I put a link in the chat so that you guys can see it too. AI citations. And I talked about this before. If you look at this right now, this is something I want us to just look into really quickly. If you scroll up the chat, you're going to see I put a link to an Instagram post, and it talks about where AI gets its facts from. I talked about this before. There's a platform called Valuetainment. You go check them out as well, and you just do your research. I just want to give you information so you can start from somewhere. Now, when you look at the results that they created, this is a source that they got from SEMrush. And based on a SEMrush study, they did 150,000 citations that were conducted in June 2025. And these are the top domains cited by LLMs, which stands for large language models like ChatGPT and Perplexity. I've said this before. Number one is Reddit, 40% or 40.1%. Number two, Wikipedia, 26.3%. Number three, YouTube, 23.5%. Number four, Google, 23.3%. You'd be surprised. Yelp, number five, 21.0% or 21%. Facebook, 20%. Amazon, 18.7%. TripAdvisor, 12.5%. Mapbox, 11.3%, tying with OpenStreetMap at 11.3%. Instagram, 10.9%, MapQuest.com, 9.8%, Walmart.com, 9.3%, eBay.com, 7.7%. We talked about LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn has 5%. So imagine you're spending all your time on LinkedIn, but you're not spending time on your website, and you're sending people to links on Reddit through your website. You can show up on LinkedIn because you have that referring gain. That's what I've done with my LinkedIn too. And that has grown my LinkedIn to about over 15,000 connections just on the basis of making sure that it's accessible, it's clickable, it's linkable, and it's findable. And you have to find this through podcasting, which is also a great way to have that resource. I'll send you the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 bottom, but these also matter too. Don't think that these don't matter, but these very much matter. 4.6 is Quora.com. Surprisingly, Home Depot.com is there, 4.6%. Then Yahoo.com is 4.4%. Target is 4.3%. And Pinterest.com is 4.2%. Pinterest is always at the bottom of the funnel, but it's always the best because you actually get the best results too. People go to Reddit because everyone is talking. You have gamer tags, you have pseudonyms. People don't even put their real names there. Their name is ABC123 and they're talking about something completely different. That's because you can have those usernames like game tags or gamer tags. So it's I'll call it decentralized because it's not opinionated based on somebody that said something based on what they look like or how they look. It's based on what they said. So that's something that's going to be very important to look at as well. And then if you look at Wikipedia, that's also a great place to be because I've talked about being on Wikipedia. There are ways to get that done. It's very possible because you also want to have resources. When Wikipedia cites your page, Wikipedia is not going to cite your LinkedIn or your Instagram. Yes, they're going to give you citations because you have search indexes there or you have search references or tags there. But when it now looks at the actual business, when it says, okay, this is the profile of the person, this is their website, it's your website that's going to show up on Wikipedia. So if ChatGPT is asking the server or responding to a server response off a prompt, is going to look at these facts from Reddit, from YouTube, from Wikipedia, from Google, from Yelp. And that's where you're going to get those results from LinkedIn too. These are great things. Have LinkedIn newsletters, have a LinkedIn profile. I'm not saying don't be there, but be there strategically. Don't just show up. Give LinkedIn, let me say it this way, give LinkedIn 10%, give your website 90%. Meaning that if I write an article and that article is 1,000 words, then I'm going to put 100 words into my LinkedIn post and tell people to go to my website so I can drive traffic from one source to the other. If I'm on Pinterest, do the same thing. The reason why you're noticing that these websites that you see here that are doing really well, Reddit, Wikipedia, Google, YouTube, Yelp, Facebook, Amazon, TripAdvisor, Instagram, all these mentions that I had here, if you notice, all of them have one thing in common. All of them have one thing in common. Can someone tell me what they all have in common? You can put in the chat. What do they all have in common? I'm going to give you a clue. They all have value, but what type of value do they have? It's not a trick question. What type of value do they have? Yeah, website is right. Yes, they all have a website. That's true. Let me see. I didn't even see what's going on in the chat. Cheryl says, what is the best platform to build a website on? Which ones do you prefer and why? I would definitely love to talk to you about that, Cheryl. About 43% of the websites in the world are built on WordPress. Government websites, medical websites, school websites, all types of websites, business websites, they're built on WordPress. So WordPress, I would say, is the best way to go professionally, but you can also use Shopify, you can use Wix, Squarespace. It's not the platform, I'll call it the strategy behind it. You can use a Wix website and show up on Google or ChatGPT. So it's not really about the platform. It's just how you want to manage it or how you want to build your house. So I'll definitely help you with that too. We also build websites. So please click the link above. And when you click website development, I'll be able to reach out to you. Modub says, are you serious? You require them to read the website and then test them on information on the interview? I don't even want to go into that. We have 1 more minute to go. So what website? I prefer WordPress for my website. Kingsley says they're social platforms. Okay. All right. So we all got it right, semi, right? But what they all have is transactional value. They all have transactional value, each and every one of them, because Reddit is going to give you information about finances, stocks, real estate, whatever it is. Wikipedia is going to give you information. YouTube is going to let you know what to buy, or if you bought something, if your car's not working, you're going to fix it with YouTube. If you're on Google, you're going to get some information about it. Yelp, Facebook, Amazon, of course, TripAdvisor, you're traveling, Mapbox, MapQuest, if you want to think about it like that, OpenStreetMap, Instagram, Walmart, eBay, LinkedIn, Quora, Home Depot, Yahoo, Target, and Pinterest. All of them have transactional value. So if you're on any website that doesn't have transactional value, then your website is not going to gain that traffic that will increase in conversions. So you have a lot of options to choose from. By the end of the day, it's for you to decide. I can't fight you. I don't have that energy. All I can do is tell you what to do and how to do it based on how I've seen it. By the end of the day, it's also something that we also have to practice, which makes perfect. Everybody has their own business, and I respect everybody's business because you all have something unique to offer. But when you don't have clarity in what you offer, that's where there's a problem. And that's where things start getting wrong. And that's where we need to fix those problems so you can have less of those in the future. So I'm excited, definitely. And Cheryl, you said you're scheduled. Yes, thank you so much. It's August 2nd. August 2nd. August 2nd. Wait, let me see. August 2nd was a while ago. Unless maybe there's a number. Okay, I'll check. Because I can't see it on my end. Um, is there a number after the 2? Let me see. I don't see it on my schedule, but I'll reach out to you, Cheryl, so that we can get that going for sure. September. Oh, okay, sorry. I was like, wait, okay, yeah. I will. If you just schedule it, I always make sure I call before the scheduled date so that I can, before we get on that call, we have a communication understanding of what is needed, and that way we can, take things to the next level. Because I don't want that call to be. It's kind of like you don't want to meet somebody for the first time on a table, connecting with them, and you've never seen or heard of anything that they do. You want to make sure that they're understanding everything, so when they come, there's clarity, and then we can have a full conversation that can actually be leading to the next step, which you actually would get you the results that you need. So I'm excited about that, and I will reach out to you, Cheryl, as well. So yes, Christina, yes, transactional value, it's very important. If you have transactional value on your website, you're always going to increase in traffic because people are going to look for the best. Look at Yelp, look at Walmart, look at Pinterest, look at YouTube, look at Google, look at Quora. These are platforms that if you go there and say, what is the best skincare for this? What is the best routine for that? You'll get information and you'll get a product to support that opinion. So it's definitely something to work on as well. So appreciate you so much, Mo. Is there anything you'd like to say before we go?
Nah, just everybody just make sure you always keep in mind your voice is an invoice, right? Just follow simple marketing guidelines, and you'll be able to turn your content into contracts in no time. Right. So that's just a quick word on the way out. Love you, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for all that you do, and let's be out.
Thank you so much. I love that you said that your voice is your invoice. It's a fact, you know, but sometimes we need to know what to say and how to say things. So I'm happy that we are here and we've discussed about this today. So thank you so much, Mo. Thank you, Jason, for contributing today. Appreciate you. Cheryl, thank you for being here. Keisha, Nikki, Kristana, America's Supermom, Sharon, No Carbs, Stephanie, Famido, Kingsley, Salam, Ayobami. Thank you for being here. For those who need a 4-day live marketing workshop from the 26th to the 29th. It's virtual. Reach out. We have private sessions and group sessions, but if you want to learn about it, click the link here and sign up today. Give us your best email and then check on the box that chooses based on what you want as a preference. And then when you get that email, I'm going to be sending out an email today so you have access to all the links for the workshop, because I want you to have time to look at everything, because from next week, Tuesday, we're going to hit the road running. And I'm excited about these replays, and people are going to have access to this, because the first one we're going to do is SEO and AI, meaning that we're going to focus on SEO and AI examples of how you can actually use these products and tools to actually see yourself on these search results, because we can't be guessing anymore. There's a way you can actually forecast your plan by having a right marketing plan on deck, and I'll show you how to do that within the 4 days using SEO, AI in one. And then we have LinkedIn another day, we have Pinterest another day, and then we have podcast the last day. I kept podcast for last because podcast is going to be exciting. And if you want to start a podcast, grow, scale, is definitely something that we can definitely do. So we can do that. What do you think of Google Business Pages? That's a whole different conversation. It's something important you have to be on. It's a brick and mortar. If you have a brick and mortar, yes, you can use Google Business Pages so that you can actually have a Google Business profile so you can get reviews. But if you have a business and your business is not a brick and mortar, you can use trustpilot.com or business.trustpilot.com to get reviews as a business if you operate as a service. So there's a way you can really go about it, and we can talk about that for sure. So thank you so much. Appreciate you all. Have a blessed day. If y'all love tacos, happy Taco Tuesday. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. I'll reach out to those who connected here, and I'll give you guys a call so we can talk about the next move. And then I'll tell you before we go, because I want to make sure that you know what's going on here. The next room I'm going to be bringing to Clubhouse, because I have 52 questions. So I'm going to give you 52 responses. The next question I'm going to be answering, because right now we've already answered about 6 of them. The next one is, what are the biggest SEO mistakes killing my rankings? That's going to be the next topic we're going to talk about. So I'll be here again tomorrow so we can talk about this and break it down. But don't wait till tomorrow, because time is of the essence, and I want to make sure you can value every time you spend improving yourself and improving your brand. So thank you all for listening. Have a blessed day, and I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Now, that was an episode, right? Thank you so much for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show. I'm so glad that you're here and you are sticking tight with us, especially to the very end. Now, this is season 11, and we're going to do it differently. And I want to make sure that every episode you listen to has something to give back, so that you can also learn more after you listen. Now, We Don't Play podcast show is where you listen, you live, you learn, and you earn. So if you're in any of those positions out of those 4, please make sure that you reach out to me. Send out an email through info@playinc.online. That's info@playinc.online. Or you could go to playinc.online, which is a website, www.playinc.online, playinc.online, and schedule a call so that we can get you on an SEO discovery call to talk about your business and help you with your marketing needs. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this helped you. See you in the next episode. God bless you. Jesus loves you. Bye.